On the fourth day of Sean Diddy Combs' federal trial in Manhattan, the courtroom turned its focus once again to key witness Cassandra Cassie Ventura, whose testimony has become central to the prosecution's case. The day was dominated by her continued cross-examination by defense attorney Anna Esteval, who launched a strategic and exhaustive effort to challenge the credibility and context of Cassie's claims. The defense worked meticulously to reframe her narrative, drawing from over a decade of digital correspondence, text messages, and emails exchanged between her and Combs during their long and complicated relationship. These communications were introduced as part of a broader attempt to suggest that Cassie was not a passive figure in the events she described, but rather a willing participant in many aspects of their private life, including some of the more controversial elements. Among the evidence presented were several emotionally intimate and explicit exchanges that Esteval read aloud in court, asking Cassie to confirm their authenticity and context. The defense emphasized moments in which Combs appeared to be offering her choices or seeking affirmation before specific activities took place, communications that the defense portrayed as indicators of mutual consent and understanding. However, Cassie countered these suggestions firmly. She explained that while such exchanges did occur, they should not be interpreted at face value because her responses were often shaped by the emotional and psychological control she felt during the relationship. She repeatedly emphasized that the nature of their dynamic was unequal, rooted in a pattern of manipulation, emotional dependency, and power imbalance that made true consent difficult to give freely. Visibly emotional and nearing the end of her pregnancy, Cassie held her composure for much of the questioning, although several moments clearly took a toll on her. At times, she was asked to read deeply personal messages aloud to the jury, prompting her to break down in tears. The court paused multiple times to allow her to recover. The defense's questioning, though clinical in tone, often veered into deeply sensitive territory, and Cassie's reactions illustrated the personal weight of reliving those experiences in a public courtroom setting. Despite the emotional difficulty, she reiterated that her purpose in testifying was to be truthful, to take responsibility for her silence over the years, and to share the full reality of her relationship with Combs. In another line of questioning, the defense turned to Cassie's romantic relationships outside of Combs, pointing to well-publicized interactions with other celebrities, including Kid Cudi and Michael B. Jordan. They suggested that these relationships, some of which overlapped with periods when she was still involved with Combs, may have contributed to tensions and emotionally charged situations. The defense used this to frame the relationship between Cassie and Combs as one marked by mutual jealousy, emotional volatility, and at times, poor decisions made by both parties. They referenced a past claim made by Cassie in which she said Combs allegedly threatened to damage Kid Cudi's car, an event that Cudi himself confirmed had occurred. The defense tried to diminish the weight of this claim by portraying it as a dramatic moment in an emotionally complex relationship, rather than as an act of deliberate intimidation. The issue of Cassie's 2023 civil lawsuit against Combs was also brought up during the cross-examination. The case, which was settled out of court for $20 million, was presented by the defense as a potential financial incentive behind her testimony. They questioned whether her public allegations were influenced by the opportunity for monetary compensation or broader attention. Cassie denied these implications directly. She explained that the lawsuit and her decision to come forward publicly was a step toward healing, accountability, and closure. According to her, the financial settlement was not the motive, but a legal result of a larger personal journey to reclaim her voice after years of feeling silenced. Throughout the day, the courtroom watched a legal and emotional tug-of-war unfold. On one side, the defense pushed a narrative of a consensual and complex romantic relationship, using Cassie's past words and decisions to paint a picture of agency and participation. On the other, Cassie worked to dismantle that framing by exposing the hidden pressures and emotional dynamics she said were ever present throughout her relationship with Combs. She underscored that even if certain interactions appeared consensual on paper, they were often underpinned by fear, loyalty, confusion, and dependency. The fourth day of the trial left observers with a deeper understanding of the intricacies and emotional gravity of the case. It was a day defined not by dramatic outbursts, but by the painstaking unpacking of a deeply personal relationship that now sits at the center of a major federal trial. As the trial moves forward, the defense is expected to continue pressing on details from Cassie's past, while the prosecution maintains that her testimony reveals a pattern of behavior by Combs that goes far beyond a private relationship, into territory that federal authorities believe constitutes serious wrongdoing. The days ahead promise further exploration into the lives, choices, and consequences at the heart of this high-profile legal battle.